do me a favor, subscribe to my channel.
Hey everyone, Kyle here from Poseidon's Pets. So today what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to show you guys how to grow Ludwigia Repens. So Ludwigia Repens has been one of those stem plants for me that it's one of my favorites. So it's very easy to grow, it multiplies very fast, and it's an easy beginner plant. So if you're struggling with Ludwigia Repens, I apologize. You know, Ryan, one of my buddies, Ryan, he has a hard time with it, and I don't know why. I give him all the advice that I can, but it just doesn't do well for him. So I'm gonna tell you guys my success with it and what I do to grow Ludwigia Repens. So grab your aquascaping tools, let's get to it. I almost forgot. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. You know, that way you're notified of all my future content, all my updates I do, and all my fishy videos. So subscribe. Some of you guys may recognize this tank already. This is my 29-gallon cherry shrimp tank. So this was the first shrimp tank that I set up. It does have a organic soil in the bottom, capped with sand. So a lot of my success with this tank and the plants that are in there has been from that setup. And I'm gonna do another video on how I set that up and explaining it a little bit more for you. So Ludwigia Repens is a stem plant. And like most stem plants, they grow from cuttings. So as you clip the plant, a new plant is gonna grow from there. You can see these plants are getting pretty long and they're due for a trim. Now I've had success with Ludwigia in all of my tanks. And I've had it floating in the tank, I've had it buried in the substrate, I've had it outside in bins. It really is a plant that likes to grow. As long as you're giving it nutrients, like fertilizer in the water column, it's gonna grow and it will feed off the fish waste and other stuff that you have. One thing I've noticed with this plant though, is the root system isn't very strong. So if you have a lot of fish that like to dig, then they're gonna be uprooted easily. You're gonna be planting them constantly, and that can be kind of annoying and it just doesn't look good. One thing you'll notice is that it sends off roots all along the stem. So this is growth that's out of the substrate. It's not even buried, but it's sending off roots. So it's feeding off of the water column. To have success with this plant, you wanna have a good substrate that they can feed off of. Whether that is an organic soil substrate with a sand cap, or, you know, a basic sand substrate with root tabs. So if you're using something like sand where it's not gonna hold those nutrients very well in the substrate, you wanna add root tabs, and you can get any type of root tabs that you like. I've used Corey's from Aquarium Co-op, I've used Fluval root tabs. They all work really well. There are other substrates out there that help to hold fertilizer in them. Basically, it's a porous substrate that as you fertilize the water column, it holds that fertilizer in there to give the plants what it needs. I prefer to fertilize with root tabs or liquid fertilizer in the tank. That seems to work really well. This tank has been blowing up for me and it's doing fantastic. So I'm definitely excited with how this turned out. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and trim these and show you how I replant them and propagate them. You can see just how long these guys are getting. What'll happen is they'll start to grow towards the top of the water and then fall over. And when they fall over, the heads will split because they're reaching up towards the light. So you see here, this one has two heads on it. But to propagate these, it's real simple. You'll notice on this stem, each one of these is a new branch. So those are gonna grow up and turn into big stems like this guy. So all you do is give it a little clip right before that shoot. So now this guy is gonna become a little bit more bushy. So you can grow your stems long like this if you like, but trimming them helps them to become more bushy and looks a lot nicer. I'm just gonna make sure not to cut any shrimp in the process. Now that we did that side, come over and do this side. Isn't duckweed awesome? Stuff's ridiculous. See, this is what I was talking about. This guy grew too tall, and so instead of being in the water like this, it had grown up to the surface. So then it starts to send off these side runners. So if you want to propagate it pretty quick, just float this in your tank, and it's going to send off a bunch of shoots along this stem. Now that you got your mass amount of Ludwigia stems, you can go ahead and replant what you want, spread them throughout other tanks, sell off any excess you have. I'm probably going to plant a few of these in here, and then I do have a few buyers for some of this, so I'm going to go ahead and sell some of it off as well as throw some of it outside to grow. And to replant it, just grab it by the bottom stem, and push it deep into your substrate. So this may start to die off on the root or on the stem. When that happens, just rebury it. So what you want to happen is it's going to send these roots off. Once those roots anchor, your whole stem may die, but it's anchored in place by those roots. You see those bubbles coming up? That's because this is a dirted tank. As that soil breaks down, it's going to release those gases. And it's not harmful. I know people talk about gas buildup, but I've never had any issues with it. This tank's been running for a little over a year now. And if you're worried about burying shrimp in the substrate or whatever else you have, when you get down into the substrate, just give it a little wiggle before plunging it in. Usually everything will get out of the way. And if you saw on this side of the tank, a lot of these stems are pretty bare, and these were the original plants I planted. So all of this growth came from these. As they grow, I just trim them off. So you may get some leggy plants to where the leaves have fallen off. And you can pull them up if you want them to look nicer. But I just plant stuff in front of it. This guy's pretty long. So if you don't like the way it looks, just plant something in front of it. This is ridiculous. Look at this. So I use my duckweed to make shrimp food. I don't mind it, but I haven't cleaned this tank out in a while. So usually before I start digging around in a tank, I'll clean the top floating plants off. So that way this doesn't happen. I'm all clean. It's movie magic. So thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. I hope this video helps you out. And if you're struggling with Ludwigia Repens, you can do it. I believe in you. Just get some root tabs, get a good light. And if you're wondering what lights I run, I've got cheap LEDs. So I run NICRU lights from Amazon in all of my tanks. They're not high powered, they're not expensive, and it's more than enough. I've had higher powered lights and I end up growing algae. So unless you're running CO2, you don't really need something too elaborate for lighting. And you know, I don't touch on lighting too much because most of the lights out there will do it. It's a matter of nutrients and light. And get a timer. If you don't have a timer for your lights, you're gonna grow algae. Don't grow algae, grow plants. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, if you love me, you love my fish, you love my videos, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell and the like, all the things. Do the stuff, do it. So thanks again and enjoy the rest of your day.